which of those spacings creates the perfect flam? Well, today we're going to find out. We'll also look at some cool, funky ways to incorporate flams creatively into your playing, and we'll watch slow motion footage to really illuminate the technique behind this. Hey everybody, welcome to The Non-Glamorous Drummer. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are not talking about drum corps flams or even orchestral rudimental flams today. Those are really a technical discussion all their own, and there are other videos on YouTube about that. This is a drum set channel, and so we're talking about flams as they apply most directly to drum set. So really we're talking about drum set flams. What do I mean by drum set flams? Well, so with a rudimental flam, so I guess we kind of are talking about this a little bit so that I can compare it with what we are talking about. With a typical rudimental flam, you've got your grace note where you might have the stick just barely above the head, and you drop it and it lands just before the primary note. And if you're practicing the rudiment flams, you're going back and forth with it, and that's fine, that's cool. A lot of times, you know, that can fit into something we play on drum set, but most of the time on drum set, we play flams maybe on the snare, and they're both equal volume notes. They're just happening at a slightly different time. Same way with a lot of tom grooves. If we're playing tom stuff, it's cool to flam the floor tom with the rack tom, and maybe we hit the floor tom just a little bit ahead. But a lot of times we hit them both at the same volume, and so we'll play fills around the kit with a boom, boom, boom like that, where each note is equal velocity. And so my definition of a drum set flam is a flam. The spacing is whatever it needs to be, as we're going to talk about. But in terms of velocity, both the notes are equal. So here's what's really cool about this. The tempo actually determines the flam spacing. In other words, if we're playing really slow, we want to choose a different spacing for our flams compared to if we're playing really fast. And we also want to think about groove context. Does this groove feel really fast? Or is it a big, open, spacey kind of groove with a lot of room to maybe spread the flam out more? If you're not exactly catching on to what I'm talking about, these examples will definitely clear it up because this will make total sense. So let's jump over to the kit where I'm going to play just a basic flam groove, just kick, and then flams on the snare for the back beats at 60 beats per minute, which is pretty slow, 100, which is kind of in between, and 140, which is pretty fast. So we're jumping up in 40 BPM increments. Now, if I hadn't have warned you to pay attention to the flam spacing, you might not have noticed that the spacing was different, because your ear doesn't. When the flams are spaced more tightly together at a quick tempo, it feels right. Whereas when the flams are spaced further apart at a slower tempo, well, that feels right too. But the thing is, there has to be that difference, otherwise it just feels kind of weird. If you do really tight flams at a slow tempo, you know, it might work, but it doesn't feel as cool and as big as maybe a more spaced out flam at that slow tempo. And what's worse though is if you play a really spaced out flam, the same kind of flam we were playing at 60 beats per minute, you play that at 140, it gets really sloppy sounding. Listen to this, you'll hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so because slow motion stuff is cool and it really can help with kind of learning techniques and like how we should do things, I love watching slow-mo footage of stuff. Let's do that now. We'll watch slow motion of me playing the flams up close on the snare. And so first you'll see me playing those 60 BPM flams that are more spaced apart than the 100 BPM flams, 140 BPM flams, and we'll also label them with the average millisecond difference between the notes, just in case you're as nerdy as I am about this and you want to know that, because I think it's interesting to know the actual differences, like the ratios between those, because there is such a thing here as the FLAM ratio, which is what we're talking about, where we want to space them more at a slow tempo, we want them tighter at a quick tempo. So let's see what those differences are. So another really big and very valid question is, which hand should we lead the flams with? If you're practicing a rudimental flam, I keep coming back to this. I said we weren't going to talk about it today, but we kind of are. If you're playing a rudimental flam, then you're going to practice it both ways. And so that's fine, that's cool. I encourage you to do the same thing with these drum set flams. Practice leading the flam. Really, when I say leading it, I mean the second note is the hand you're leading with. Leading it with your right hand, so going left, right, and then practice doing it the other way, right, left. And one way probably will feel more natural to you than another, but be able to do it both ways because you want to be able to do it on demand based on which instruments on the kit you're flamming and what kind of sound or feel you're going for. That leads us into this last part of the video where I want to just give you some creative ideas and sort of some reasons why flams are cool and why they're a big deal. Because you can use them in a lot of really unique ways on the drum set to spice up your playing so that it instantly becomes less robotic and less mechanical. Hey, I hope this video really helped you out and provided you with some interesting ideas and some cool techniques to practice and work on in your playing. If so, be sure to share the video and become a fellow Non-Glamour subscriber if you haven't already. And before you go, if you haven't already checked out the free ebook, What You Actually Need to Know on the Drums, do that before you go. It's full of all sorts of practical core drumming info that'll really help you in directing your playing and really making more progress in less time. So if you haven't already checked it out, do. It'll really help you. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video.